Hey everybody, welcome back to Baking with Rosehill Sourdough. This is Mike, and today I'm going to be going over an equipment overview, all the stuff that I use for baking. So let's start with this baking surface here. This is a nice marble pastry slab that I picked up a few years ago. This is a great work surface for handling dough, and I suggest, especially if you don't have stone countertops, that you pick up some kind of sheet of stone. I found this one at Silicone, but I've also found them on Amazon. Next thing, one of the most important things you're going to need is a scale. You don't need a super precise. This one I just picked up from Amazon. The most important thing for my recipes is that it has the ability to weigh in grams, and it has a decent maximum weight. I think this one is about 5 kilograms. All right, next is going to be a nice bowl to do all your mixing in, and for my bread recipes, a bowl that you're going to proof under. I really like this bowl from Cambro. I found these at a local restaurant supply store. Dough doesn't seem to stick to them. They're really great containers, and they come with a nice little lid to cover your dough while your dough's proving. The next thing you're going to want is some kind of dough blade or dough knife. Also might be called a bench scraper. This is the best one I've ever used. It's made in the UK. It's called the Campbell dough knife. These are handmade stainless steel dough knives, and they're coated with a special coating that was developed to deal specifically with high hydration doughs. These are really nice for shaping dough and also just cleaning off your work surface and moving dough around. Highly recommend picking up some kind of dough blade. For scoring bread, you're going to want some kind of bread lame. Basically, it's just a really sharp razor blade with some kind of handle. I've used a bunch of different ones. I've even used scalpels before, but my go-to one now is this bread lame from Wire Monkey Shop. You can find them on Etsy, on Instagram. They're called the UFO. They're really nice, let you get really close to the bread, which allows you to do some really fine detail and manage the depths of your scoring really well. So go check out Wire Monkey Shop. All right, you're gonna need something to bake your bread in. I really prefer a cast iron 2-quart Dutch oven. And this is an uncoated cast iron by Lodge Cast Iron. This size is perfect for all of my bread recipes. This is the size that all my bread recipes are designed for. I also have a variety of sizes of a 4-quart, a 6-quart, and a 7-quart, which are way too big to get on camera. When I like to bake larger loaves, I bust these out. It's really nice just having these large cast iron Dutch ovens around. A few things to have around are a variety of sizes, and I even like a variety of colors of mason jars. Here I've got a 500 ml and a 1000 ml size, and I've also got a 1000 ml size in blue. When I'm feeding up culture to make small amounts of dough, I'll use this 500 ml size. You can feed up to 200 grams really comfortably in that size, and then 400 grams in the 1 liter size. I like to use different colors to differentiate between my discard jars that I like to keep in my fridge for my discard recipes. But it's also nice if you've made a couple different cultures. You don't have to write on the jar. You just know right away by looking at it. All right, for just general recipes, feeding culture and mixing dough, I like to have a couple of different sizes of silicone spatula around. When you're looking for a silicone spatula, all you're really looking for is a nice sharp edge so you can clean the sides of your jar really well when you're feeding culture, or clean up the sides of the bowl while you're mixing dough. Some pizza prep tools here. I like to keep a couple different sizes of silicone basting brush around. I top a lot of my pizzas with garlic olive oil, and I found that silicone brushes are just the easiest way to spread that oil around the dough. Nice handy tool to have around is an IR thermometer. This one I picked up on Amazon, I believe. The reason I went with this one is because I can read up to 750 degrees Celsius, which is somewhere just north of 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got a couple different pans that I like to use. This first one is a round pan that I make my focaccias in. It's got a nice deep wall on the side. I picked this one up from Crate & Barrel, and it is my go-to pan for making focaccia. Speaking of specialty pans, this is a Detroit style pizza pan that I picked up from Lloyd Pans. This is the 8x10 size. I found this size fits really well in my Uni Pro with plenty of room. I found that it also just barely fits into an Uni Coda. So for pizza making, you're also going to want to have at least one pizza peel. I actually prefer to use 2 different types of pizza peels. This is a bamboo peel, which acts the same as a wooden peel. This is from Uni. I prefer to build my pizzas on wood and retrieve with metal. Just a personal preference. I find that the pizzas tend to stick a lot less when building on wood. And the nice thing about having 2 peels around is you can be prepping your next pizza while your first pizza's cooking, and then go retrieve that pizza and launch right away. So speaking of metal peels, here's my aluminum peel from Uni. This is a perforated aluminum peel, which allows some of that flour and steam to escape while you're turning the pizza. Uni also offers a turning peel, which I've used and is really nice, and also this peel, which is nice for removing and then also cutting your pizza on when it's come out of the oven. All right, speaking of making pizza, if you do not want to go get a pizza oven, that's not in the budget right now. I totally understand. When I first started making pizzas, my pizza stones were $1 terracotta tiles that I picked up from Home Depot that would last about 2 bakes before cracking. before I finally invested in a nice pizza stone. I think at a bare minimum, you're gonna want a decent sized pizza stone, looking for something that's at least 10 millimeters thick, but preferably somewhere around 15 millimeters to even 20 millimeters thick if you can find it. This is a 12 by 12, 15 mil thick stone, and I use this for making pizzas in my home oven. But it's also nice to have in your oven just to add a little bit more thermal mass. I have 2 pizza stones that I keep in my oven at all times when I'm baking bread. It just helps to store a little bit more heat in the oven while you're baking. If you do have a wood-fired oven, really handy tool. I got this as a gift a couple years ago for Christmas. This is just a standard culinary butane torch. Makes really easy work of lighting up your pizza oven. Speaking of my Uni pizza oven, I've cooked in all the different Uni pizza ovens, and my 2 favorites are the Uni Karoo and the Uni Pro. Both these ovens allow you to use solid fuels like charcoal and wood, in addition to being able to put in a gas burner. I prefer to cook with wood and charcoal when I'm doing pizza because I find that I can get really high temperatures and also enjoy the smoky flavor of cooking with those fuels. Nice thing about the Uni Pro is a nice tall ceiling, so not only can I do pizza in there, but I do bread in there from time to time as well. And that's where I also cook Detroit style pizza and I cook my bagels. All right, speaking of starting a fire, Uni use these little fire starters. I get these from Uni. They're natural fire starters. They make building a fire really easy. Got a couple different types of wood here. These are both wood kindling size, about 6 inches in length. It's a really nice size, about the smallest I'd go for feeding an Uni Pro, which is a really good size for feeding Uni Karoo. I've got 2 types of wood here. This one here is pine and this one is oak. When you're cooking pizza, you really want to use a nice hardwood like an oak. I found that pine not only gives you a really weak flame, you also have to free fuel all the time, and I find the flavor of the smoke really medicinal. Same reason I don't use eucalyptus even though it's a hardwood. I find the best woods to cook pizza are oak or almond. I've also had really good luck cooking with maple and birch. As far as size of wood, when you're buying wood, look for wood kindling or wood chunks. These are both fairly standard sizes. Any place that sells wood should know what you're talking about if you ask for hardwood, cooking wood, either a kindling or a chunk size. Well, that's all my equipment that I use for making bread and pizza here at home. If this video has been useful to you, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. If you'd like to learn any more of my tips and tricks or recipes, please follow me on Instagram at Rosehill Sourdough. Appreciate you stopping by, and I hope to see you back here again real soon.